So good afternoon, good afternoon. We are back again. This time we're going to talk about Amir Khan's 2-year ban from all sport. And despite being a retired boxer, he has been issued with a 2-year ban. This is for anti-doping offences. And it's kind of mad because I was reading through all of this when it broke a few hours ago. And the level of Osterine in his system was literally like 1/20th of the amount that would enhance your performance and enhance your muscle growth. So it's kind of mad when you deep it that much. But listen, if they found something, they found it doesn't matter whether it's 0.1 milligrams or grams in his system, and rightly so, he's been banned. But I want to go through the UKAD statement that was posted out earlier on social media, which, funny enough, is how his promoter Ben Shalom found out about his ban, which I'm going to come to that in a minute because some of this doesn't quite add up. But I'm going to read through the official statement. Professional boxer and Olympic medalist Amir Khan has been banned from all sport for 2 years following anti-doping rule violations for presence and use of a prohibited substance. On the 19th of February 2022, anti-doping UKAD collected an in-competition urine sample from Mr. Khan after his fight against Kell Brook in the Manchester Arena. Mr. Khan's sample returned an adverse analytical finding of Osterine. Osterine is a selective androgen receptor modulator. The substance is listed on the World Anti-Doping Agency 2022 prohibited list for anabolic agent and is prohibited in sport at all times. UKAD notified Mr. Khan of the AAF on 6th of April 2022 that he may have committed an ADRVs under the 2021 UK anti-doping rules. UKAD issued him with a provisional suspension from all code compliant sport on the same date, 20th of July 2022. UKAD charged Mr. Khan with the commission of 2 ADRVs under the ADR Article 2.1, the presence of a prohibited substance, and the ADR Article 2.2, the use of a prohibited substance. Mr. Khan accepted the violation charged, but maintained that the ingestion of Osterine was not intentional, a term within specific meaning set out on ADR Article 10.2.3. As a consequence, his case was referred to the National Anti-Doping Panel to be considered for independent tribunal. Mr. Khan's case was heard by an independent tribunal on the 23rd of January 2023. And its written decision dated 21st of February 2023, a panel found both violations concluded that Mr. Khan had established that they were not intentional within the meaning of the ADR Article 10.2.3 and imposed a 2-year ban on him. Obviously, the original would have been 4 years. If he can prove that it was unintentional, gets reduced down to 2. The panel also disqualified Mr. Khan's result from the bout against Mr. Brook. Mr. Khan's 2-year ban is deemed to have commenced on the 6th of April 2022, last year. The date is a provisional suspension was imposed and will expire on the 5th of April 2024. Speaking on the case, UKAD Chief Executive Jane Rumble said, "The case serves as a reminder that UKAD will diligently pursue anti-doping rule violations in order to protect the clean sport. Strict liability means athletes are ultimately responsible for what they ingest and for the presence of any prohibited substances in a sample. It is important that all athletes and their support personnel, whatever the level they're competing at, take their anti-doping responsibilities seriously. Not doing so risks in damaging not only the athlete's career, but also undermining public confidence in a clean sport." Now, listen, Amir Khan's come out and said that basically it could have been done by a handshake. Like I said, the amount found of Osterine in his system was 1/20th of the amount to enhance performance. So, listen, he probably didn't take anything. That's how I'm seeing it. He probably didn't take anything. I actually believe that to be the case. Some of you may disagree, but he's done a little interview on Sky, kind of stuttering his way through it, which was kind of mad to watch, if I'm being honest, hardly coherent at all. But at the same time, he is a retired boxer. But they have found this, they have banned him, and rightly so. Whether he's planning on returning or not, However, this is where I take an issue with it. At the time of the fight, you was not a retired boxer. You was a fully fledged member of the boxing community going for a fight against Kell Brook. Obviously, there would have been rigorous testings before and obviously afterwards. Now, his promoter for the fight has come out and said that he found out via that statement being shared to him with staff that they've seen on social media. And again, this is where I kind of take issue with it. Surely he would have been in contact with Amir Khan at any point or some point during this whole process, because that promoter put the fight on. They got in the ring. They would have had rigorous testing on the week of the fight, etc., etc. Now, this test was obviously done after the fight. Why has it taken a year for the results to come out to the public? Why hasn't his promoter, like he said on TalkSport, not been in the loop about this? Why hasn't he found out about this until it was on social media? There's too many discrepancies here. And whether that's UCAD not liaising with anyone or whether that's just the promoter blagging it, I don't know. But it's almost like the promoter's trying to say, well, listen, mate, I didn't know about it. We didn't know nothing about it. Just found out today like you, trying to absorb any sort of liability there. Amir Khan saying, well, listen, it could have just been a handshake and that's how I've got that sample in my urine. Again, I'm not a doctor. I am not a scientist. I don't know how all of these things work. Can you do a handshake and get this end up in your system? I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me. I find it all a little bit wishy-washy, but he has been banned, and the independent tribunal accepted the argument, ruled out deliberate or reckless conduct by him. Amir Khan said, I've never cheated, but I've got a 2-year ban now, which is quite strange and funny because I'm already retired. There's no plan of a comeback at all, but I've never cheated and I never will. That's just not something I would do. And like I said, cool that you're retired, mate, but at the time of the fight, you weren't retired. Not that it enhanced his performance in any way, because he was getting rocked by jabs by Kell Brook. But it's kind of crazy to think that when you've got the whole Conor Benn situation going on, we've had previous fighters banned, this guy's now banned. It's not a good look for boxing, is it? It really ain't. And, you know, boxing's always had this over its head, this little grey area of, is everybody dope and can we prove it, etc., etc. Me personally, I think it's rife. Yeah, not just in boxing, but in a lot of sports like MMA. I think it's rife in football as well. I think there's a lot of performance-enhancing drugs in most sports, if not all of them. Rugby, another one. Cricket, another one. I just think that this is rife, and it's something that needs to be stopped, because what it does, especially with boxing, when it's one-on-one in a ring and you're trying to knock each other out, in that situation, in them circumstances, a 1v1, you want to get the upper hand on the person you're fighting. This questions all of the other things that have come before this Kell Brook fight. Has this happened before and it's not been found? Have any of his fights been clean? That's another thing that we don't know. But this all this does is just dent the reputation of Amir Khan and the reputation of the boxing, because like we've seen with the Conor Benn one, like the guy's saying it come from eggs, contaminated eggs, or eggs from America, or whatever it was. But now he don't want to go and sit down and put his appeal forward. Like, all of this is just ridiculous. I can't lie. And I look at it that there needs to be maybe one governing body that for testing, one testing center, one body that does all the testing, and you get the results back and bang, this is what we're going to do. You're either banned, all of these substances are not on, that are on the list. Any trace of that is found in your system, whether it be 1 milligram, 1 gram, whatever it may be, and how you weigh it. I believe that they should just ban. Just ban. If that's in your system, banned, because it will clean the sport up extremely quickly. Not only that, it acts as a deterrent to everyone else. How has it taken, by the way, over a year for this to even come out? And how does the promoter not know anything about this? For me, that don't add up. Like, why has it taken a year, number one, to come back with this? And cool, I understand it's gone to an appeal, an independent tribunal, etc., etc. But how can it take that long? How has this not been leaked out to media? Number one, they've done a very good job in covering that, first and foremost. But number two, how comes his promoter don't know nothing about it until he read it on social media today. That can't be right. And listen, these testing agencies and bodies and all of that, they need to be keeping the people in the loop, because they represent other fighters as well. And if they're taking something that they deem cool, or eating something that they deem cool, but then that shows up in the system, surely the promoters need to know that, the trainers need to know that, the boxers themselves need to know all of this. So then that can deter others from taking that particular product, that particular food, that particular drink, whatever it may be. Because this is going down a slippery slope that if it's going to take a year to find out a result, that puts a lot of fights in question, especially if a boxer's fighting twice a year. Because if it's going to take a year to find out, and I know in this case he's retired, cool, but maybe going forward they need to have a rip up the whole thing, go back to the drawing board and sit down and say, right, this system is flawed. Nobody's in the loop. When we do this from now going forward, the trainer, the boxer, the promoter all need to be in the loop. And for me, it don't seem that that's the case right now. And this ain't the first person that's been banned. It won't be the last person that will be banned. Yeah, because like I said a minute ago, I think this is rife in boxing. And I think that when you deep it, and if it had come to light, I think we would have found out a lot of boxers that we've seen as heroes, great fighters, decent fighters, title winners, etc., etc. I think you'd find that a lot of them have taken something. Yeah, but that's just my opinion on it. And I think that they need to do a lot more. Speed up the process. I know they obviously want to get to the right outcome, but seriously, speed up the process, make it more transparent, not just to everyone I just mentioned, but also to the public as well. Because ultimately, the paying public are the ones that are funding these fights, really. Let's be real with it. Yeah, without the pay-per-views, a lot of these fights would get peanuts compared to what they're getting. So the paying public, I wouldn't say are getting conned, but they're having the wool pulled over their eyes a few times. Yeah, and going forward, this needs to change, man. And I think the British Board of Boxing Control needs to get involved as well. They need to be in the loop as well. We've seen with Conor Benn, he don't want to go and put his argument forward. Yeah, but now he's going to be fighting the fight anyway. They're just going to take it out of the country. How is that even possible? Like, that should not be allowed, like, at all. You have been found positive for a banned substance, and now you're going to go and have a fight in a different country, raking millions and millions of pounds. Yes, he's going to have testing on that all the way through. But at the same time, he had testing all the way through, and it was pulled like literally the week of the fight. So I find it all kind of mad. Yeah, and boxing, this is happening a lot in boxing, more so coming to light to the media and stuff, more so than any other sport. Like, we've seen this over the years in cycling, we've seen this over the years in athletics, you know, and it's about time that these anti-doping agencies get their act together, yeah, and actually get their shit in order and say, right, this is what's happening, this is the penalties, and we're going to get the results within XYZ time period. To sit there and nobody know about this Amir Khan situation, apart from people close to Amir Khan, but allegedly not his promoter, it's kind of crazy. I can't lie, because like I said, he was rubbish in that fight anyway and deserved to lose. He got rocked by a jab. So even if he was taking anything, yeah, it didn't work, did it? But for me personally, this needs a whole revamp. Yeah. And a lot of people are switching off of boxing. I enjoy boxing. Listen, I'm not the most clued up fan out there. There's hundreds of thousands of you that will be in the comments that know a lot more about boxing and how it works than I do. Yeah, but I do enjoy boxing. I do want to learn more about boxing, hence why I'm doing more and more boxing videos and looking into it and watching videos, etc., because I want to educate myself on the sport more. But one thing I have found in all the time that I've been watching boxing and reading and listening about boxing, this is rife in this sport. And it needs all of these bodies to sit down, rip it up, and come up with an action plan, a roadmap, if you will, to go forward and clean this sport's reputation up, because it brings into doubt a lot more fights, not just of Amir Khan, but of other boxers that have been found out to be guilty and positive on tests. But let me know your thoughts and feelings and all of that. Like I said, the amount found in his system was minimal, so it obviously wasn't performance enhancing. Hence why he could prove that in the independent inquiry. But for me, it's still not a good look. And like I said, I don't believe for 1 minute that is promoter didn't know nothing about this until today. But let me know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions, and all of that. And I'll be back again tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be something else breaking tomorrow that'll be equally as dramatic. Make sure you stick a thumbs up on the video, and we're out of here, people. Laters. Ciao.